and allowed the board to select one individual that we felt would bring most about the transformation needed here at WMATA. An individual who we believe will redefine how Metro will continue to be part of the region's economic recovery after the pandemic, as well as the individual who will set the vision for how this organization will move forward over the next several decades. The board is pleased to announce that Mr. Randy Clark has been selected and has agreed to serve as WMATA's new General Manager and CEO. The board is pleased. Before Randy speaks to you this morning, I would like to introduce you to him and introduce him to the region by sharing a little information about his success and why this was the clear choice for the board. Randy currently serves as the president and CEO of Capital Metro, or Cap Metro, which provides transportation services throughout Central Texas. Headquartered in Austin, Cap Metro provides bus, rail, access, and freight rail services. I think you will find, and what the board was able to see in our meetings and discussions with Randy over the past couple of months, that he is a compassionate, visionary leader who is known throughout the industry for his innovative approaches. Prior to joining Cap Metro, Randy spent 6 years at the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, or MBTA, beginning in 2009, serving in several roles, including Deputy Chief Operating Officer or Deputy CEO. Before he was responsible for safety and safety oversight at MBTA as the Chief Safety Officer and Director of Security and Emergency Management. He most recently served as Vice President of Operations and Member Services at the American Public Transportation Association for 2 years and was in charge of leading safety audits and safety peer reviews. Randy is currently a daily transit user and is committed to doing so here at WMATA, engaging and experiencing the same service that our customers do. One initiative from Cap Metro that I think is worth mentioning today, and one that Randy is widely known for, is his leadership in a program called Project Connect. Austin voters agreed to one of the largest referendums for a transit expansion in U.S. history through a dedicated property tax, which means multi-billions of dollars will be spent on transit capital projects. The expansion includes light rail, downtown subway expanded bus services, and an all-electric fleet for Central Texas. A little more than 1 year ago, a little more than 1 year later, Project connects to an incredible success story with first projects in the program already under construction and advancing through the federal process. It's all done in partnership with stakeholders, including communities, elected officials, government agencies, and riders, among others, who all share a vision of a successful integrated transit in the region. Additionally, and under Randy's leadership through Project Connect, Cap Metro awarded the nation's first largest electric bus vehicle procurement, supporting his vision to transition the entire bus fleet of Cap Metro and provide zero-emission transportation to the community. Cap Metro is also a leader in the industry in its diversity, equity, and inclusion program with specific focus on collaboration with labor partners, community partners, and stakeholders. And lastly, I think it's important to share that just months before the pandemic, Cap Metro experienced some of the highest year-over-year ridership growth across the country, with 17 straight months of increased ridership following the redesign and optimization of the organization's bus network. I could continue on, but instead I will stop and I'll let you hear directly from WMATA's next GM. Please welcome the new General Manager and CEO of WMATA, Mr. Randy Clark.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is a privilege to be here. I'm excited to be here this morning, and I'm honored to be named as the next General Manager and CEO of WMATA. I want to thank the board the board for their confidence and trust in me to lead this amazing organization during a critical time in its future. As the chair mentioned, I'm a daily transit customer, and I give the community my commitment to ensuring that Metro delivers world-class, safe, reliable, customer-centric services that this region definitely deserves. I want to acknowledge the strides Paul and the team have done over the last, I guess it's 6+ years, Paul, of all the work that has gone in to making WMATA the organization is today. And I look forward to building upon the successes both of this board and of Paul and the team. I look forward to meeting with the staff, customers, and you'll see me out on the system a lot, stakeholders, this region has many to say the least, and the community at large. I want to help learn and listen from all of you of how we can work together to make Metro the best agency in the country and be proud of how great this service is for this community. My wife Kimberly and I appreciate the opportunity to return to the region. I had the opportunity to live here for a few years, and we're really excited to come back and be an active part of this fantastic, diverse community. I want to thank again the board for selecting me as Metro's general manager, and I also want to just highlight how much I appreciate the professionalism and unity of this board that they showed during this process. It really brings a lot of confidence to me to see a board this united, this collaborative, and trusting each other to go through this process. It's an exciting time for the future of this organization, for the region. Our country is coming back out of the pandemic, and I, again, am honored to be the next general manager and CEO of WMATA, and I look forward to spending a lot of time with you all in the near future. So thank you again.
Thank you, Randy. And I'd also like to say on behalf of the board, it was wonderful to meet your wife, Kimberly, and also have the chance to welcome her to Metro in the DC region, or back again to the DC region. We very much look forward to working, and getting to know your family. So thank you. Before we take questions, I'd also like to take this opportunity to share a special thank you to Metro's current general manager, Mr. Paul Wiedefeld. Paul joined WMATA in November of 2015, and without question, Paul was the right person for Metro at the right time. We have had the pleasure and benefit of Paul's personal commitment, not only to Metro, but the region's success over the last 6 years, and we know all about his accomplishments. We were able to have a front row seat, literally, as he guided this agency through some of its most challenging moments, including rail safety and reliability concerns and the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of Paul's success, today we are able to pass the baton from one courageous leader to another. And for that, on behalf of the board, I want to offer a huge thank you to Paul Wiedefeld for setting the organization on the right path forward. And lastly, I want to thank all my fellow board members and thank them for their dedication and diligence throughout this entire process. It has been a privilege to work beside all of you and as we work to lead and support Metro in the organization's success. So thank you so much for all you've done through these past 5 months. All right, we'll take questions. We're going to focus questions today simply on, Randy and the selection of the GM. So does anyone have any questions? Jordan. Justin.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks,
Jordan.
Chair Smedberg. I want to ask both you and Randy. There's huge challenges ahead, not just with the pandemic, but also you have the 7,000 series trains that are out right now. You have also a lot of shifting sort of commuter patterns that are going on across the nation, and the challenges of fare revenue and what you need to do to get sort of Metro back on track financially. This is a lot to take on. Was there any, what was your thought of taking on such a huge, task that's ahead here?
Thank you. Great question. Nice to meet you. I think my personal belief is transit is the ultimate opportunity connector for a community. And so we need as a society to invest in services that impact people, especially people that need those services the most. So I am, where there's challenges, there's amazing opportunities. And so throughout time, there's been challenges, whether it's 9/11 and the pandemic. And society has figured out how to get through those challenges and not only persevere, but thrive. And I believe the future here is very bright. So we're going to have some tough challenges ahead. I'm convinced that Paul and the team are doing everything they can, and the 7,000s and other issues are going to obviously get resolved. We're going to have a serious conversation regionally about commuting patterns but also activity, and whether a trip at 10 o'clock at night and how that is equivalency to a morning rush hour trip. And so I think these are good conversations to have with the community, and together we can build consensus and figure out the future.
Mr. Ford.
You've got 3 jurisdictions and Congress to deal with. Talk about how you plan to approach that. I don't know that Texas was that complex.
I guess always in the eye of the beholder sometimes to some people, right? No, certainly the governance model here and jurisdictional elements are complex. But to the previous question, I also think it brings a great opportunity. There's 4 stakeholders, jurisdictions, that very much care about this region. And they all want it to be successful, right? And I think that's the most important thing. I've never heard anyone in this region not want Metro to be successful, because they know how important it is for the economy, for the environment, for equity, for special events, traffic congestion, you name it. So, there's an amount of opportunity ahead to really work. To your question at hand, how to deal with that? Listen and learn. There's a lot of stakeholders here, and I can't wait to engage with everyone and hear different points of view and points of what they kind of see the future of, and how we all work together to build consensus. At the end of the day, consensus is the only way to move really big topics forward.
Tom.
Got a question for you, Randy. Through the wonders of Google, I now know everything about you.
That was fast. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask, the number one thing I hear from riders in this area, bus, rail, they say, I want more frequent, more reliable service. And through the wonders of Google, I saw there has been some concerns in Austin about getting bus service back to normal, and it's taken a little too long, some say. So what do you want to say to riders here who are like, I want service back to what it used to be with the 7,000 buses, you name it?
No question, and they deserve great service. So in Austin, just like around the whole country, specifically on bus around the entire industry, we've all struggled, I think, with hiring of bus operators, recovering from the pandemic, and there's also supply chain issues with parts on maintenance. Austin, we're kind of coming out of that now. We've put a lot of work into that. A lot of agencies are starting to come out of that. I'm going to be on the service every day. My wife will take the service every day. I guarantee you, there is no one in this community who wants a safe, reliable, frequent service. There's more than the future CEO of this organization and that CEO's wife that will be on that service. So the community has my commitment that delivering quality, safe service will be the focus.
And based on what you know now, how big a priority will be getting those 7,000s all back?
I look forward to obviously working with Paul and the team and diving deeper into that topic. I know there's some aspects about NTSB and WMSC, but obviously I think the organization knows that as a key priority and focus area.
Sure.
Safety culture has been a kind of a struggle for WMATA over a long time. What is your safety record in Austin, and how do you kind of approach safety in transit?
Yeah, well, and thank you for the question. So safety to me it's a cultural element of an organization and a value. So I don't really consider it a priority. It's just part of how you have to operate and be every day. So Austin, we've really doubled down on that, and overall we run an incredibly safe system. I actually believe WMATA is a very safe system. Does it mean there's not room for improvement? Of course, and we should never stop improving. There will never be a period that, as long as I'm in this seat, that we don't strive to be better, both service delivery and safety. But this organization has invested significantly in safety. I think under Paul's leadership, Teresa, and obviously the board's leadership, there's a lot of good safety practices and development happening here. And I was, for an opportunity for a period of time, I was the chief safety officer in Boston through a legacy rail system that is actually significantly older than even WMATA. And years and years and years of state of good repair issues have taken a wear on the biggest properties in the country. And those are some holes to dig out of. And WMATA, I think, between Back to Good and Safe Tracks, is doing a great job of that. And there's obviously more to do, and safety is the underlying thing that we have to do every day.
Any other questions? Tom?
What date do you officially start as the sole GM? Do you know yet, or?
I'm obviously, this is news obviously in Austin as well. So I'll be working very collaboratively with my board there and obviously with the board here. But obviously sometime this summer, we'll be looking to have getting on site and becoming the role.
And Paul, I think part of the board's process, you kind of wanted a little bit of overlap with Jim Wiedefeld and the new hires. That kind of still the hope to kind of get a little bit of shadowing, or I guess, or?
Yeah, we're going to focus on a transition process, one that's thorough. And Paul and Randy actually had a chance to sit down this morning and talk before we walked out. So that process has already begun, and we'll work through that. There's obviously a lot to learn. Anyone coming into this job, and particularly with some of the issues we have to face, but we look forward to a good and thoughtful transition process. Yeah.
Randy, I wanted to ask you, I guess Paul had mentioned that you helped electrify the fleet there at Metro. Can you talk about that process and how that's gone over? That's something that a lot of people here have been clamoring about. And, looking forward as far as technology and other things you want to do as far as transit, do you have any ideas or anything that you'd like to see here in Metro?
Yeah, again, great question. So in each community, the old thing in the transit industry, if you've been to one transit agency, you've been to one transit agency. And there is some uniqueness, and not to be flip, but there is some uniqueness and truth to that. So the Austin region really leans in heavily to environmental sustainability. And it's one of the things that we want to, and we also had the right resources lined up at the right time in our State of Good Repair program. And the board took leadership to say we want to go zero emission. To the staff. The staff worked out a plan. We actually procured almost 200 buses in that process, built an electric yard, and we're working on kind of defining that in a larger way. I know WMATA here is working on, I think it's a 12-bus pilot, if I could be wrong. I think it's 12, thanks, Paul, in one of the garages. Obviously, it has to get done right, too, right? So rushing is not right. Taking too slow is not right. So I look forward to working with the team and seeing how, if the program can be advanced quicker, great. But we got to get it right. A lot of it also comes into not just the vehicles themselves. It's the actual infrastructure and working with the utilities. Austin has the uniqueness of Austin Energy is a municipal utility. And so the coordination with the city and the transit authority has been incredibly collaborative. And I look forward to, Pepco and other utilities in the region are going to play a big role in WMATA's success of that as well. Overall technologies, hydrogen is going to be there one day too, whether that's 10 years or 20, that's in the future. And I think, ATO is a good example. The Red Line ran on ATO. We've got to really dive under the hood there and work from a safety kind of configuration management and see what could be done to maybe get back to the highest level of operating safety on the rail lines as well.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
I had a question for you, Paul.
Okay.
You gave several reasons at the beginning, but was there kind of one moment or one quality that Randy has where the board all of a sudden was like, yeah, this is our guy? Was there a moment like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think during the interview.
I'm all ears on that, too.
Yeah. No.
Was there one thing that set him apart? You're like, we interviewed some other good people, but he's clearly the best.
Yeah, I think it was his depth of experience, the focus areas that he highlighted. During the process, we actually gave people a case study to present to us, and I think that really showed a lot about how Randy thought about issues and what he learned about WMATA in general. And I think it was the way he interacted with us, obviously, during the program. And we were really looking for someone who is going to be the leader of this organization for several years and understanding the challenges before us. And, it's a really great opportunity, to take over, given what Paul's done the last 6.5 years. It's almost 7 years. There's a real challenge here. And as Randy said earlier, this region is committed to making sure WMATA is successful. They understand its investment and they understand its success to the region's economy. So, we're all committed to that, and we look forward to working with him, and he brings a great energy and focus, and we've seen that in every place he's held a position. He's risen to leadership roles and has taken on challenges, and I think that's something that, really resonated with us, and so we're really looking forward to working with Randy. All right, well, thank you so much for coming. Again, welcome, Mr. Randy Clark.
Thank you.